Okay, we'll go ahead and get started since we have about 9 attendees on now, and I'm sure a few more will be joining in just a little bit. But hi, welcome everybody. This is our partner session of our digital summit, and I'm your host, Kim Saunders. I'm glad you could join us today. So we're excited to have our partners here at Corporate Spending Innovations. They're going to share with you how your club can automate your accounts payable by using their best-in-class electronic payment solution. So they're going to discuss with you how you can streamline manual processes, improve workflow while integrating with Clubessential. So the topics we're going to cover today are the benefits of an automated payment solution, the risks associated with traditional payment methods. We'll give an understanding of a virtual card, how your club can easily transition from manual to digital payments in only a few weeks, how this solution presents the potential for earning revenue, and then finally, how CSI's solution integrates with Clubessential. So in just a moment, I'm going to turn things over to Ryan here. Ryan is the Director of Accounts Payable Automation for golf clubs at CSI. Some of you may already know Ryan from prior interactions within the private club software space, but we're glad Ryan could join us today and share his insights, especially given his extensive knowledge of our industry. So I do want to just cover a few housekeeping items before we get started. I just want to make you aware that we are recording today's webinar, and then we'll make it available to rewatch out on Clubessential's website after the conclusion of the digital summit. And then if you have any questions during the session today, just go ahead and enter them in the Q&A panel, and then we will address them at the end of this session. So if for some reason we're not able to get to your question today, we'll make sure we follow up with you offline and get you the information you're looking for. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Kim. Much appreciated. And as Kim stated, yes, I imagine I've had conversations with many of you. Some, I hope it's a refreshing feeling to see my face again. Today's objective is to obviously talk about what's going on in this industry, right? So Kim, I'm just going to share my screen, and it will be a presentation PowerPoint we actually reviewed today, just to kind of focus our attentions on how the integration works and what we're doing in this space, some stats, some figures, etc. So again, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon to you. Good morning to you, wherever you are in the world today. I imagine, again, some of us have interacted before. If this is your first time seeing my face, I hope we can have some additional conversations, because it means that maybe this is not turned on for you today, right? So why am I here? CSI, in short, has partnered with Clubessentials over the past several years now to build an ecosystem that is critical to maximizing some value in your AP, not only from an efficiency standpoint, but also from a monetization standpoint. We can reduce certain costs that involve your paper checks today, and we can also incorporate some net new revenue that you're able to leverage by the likes of CSI. So just like CSI, Clubessentials can basically attest to this, that they too are constantly seeking new ways to bring value to the customer. That's hence why we've agreed to establish this integration with the platform. So this is all embedded today. It's just a matter of using it. So I'm going to change over to get this started, and you very well may see a little brown figure in the back of my screen here, and that's just my pup. I'm in a remote environment, as we all have been in the past few years, to a sense, right? So let's put it this way. Simply put, the world we live in today, it has evolved immensely over the past 2 years in regards to what we've had to do to adapt and adopt new processes of maintaining security, of maintaining control of all of your supplier payments. So technology here is really proving its worth, and it has proved its worth in our personal lives. But the fact of the matter is, it's also doing it now for our professional lives as well, right? It's been phenomenal in so many different aspects to aiding automation from the typical tedious task your team is doing today in-house. And let's be honest, country clubs, they somewhat lag to a sense in regards to getting up with certain times. It's just the truth. I was in the country club space for 6 years prior to my past 4 being with CSI now. So I've gone through this exact process. I know it's a bit outdated, but there is room for improvement, and that's effectively what we can do. So how do we address your needs and how do we simplify this to a sense? We have partnered with hospitality industry leaders like Club Essentials, and we've been able to provide these integrated solutions. So it's not much of a time investment for you to get this up and going. It's going to reduce a number of things from the manual tasks you're doing today. We're saving time in just your employees' day from them no longer now having to execute an entire payment batch or a check batch, stuff all the envelopes, and mail them out to your respective vendors. Only once you've gotten 2 signatures, 3 signatures, however many people need to sign all of your payments prior to disbursement, right? So there is a forward thinking process here in play, and we'll dive into what all of this entails basically for you now. So what the road ahead could be and what some clubs using Club Essentials have done today are basically automate the primary form of payment. So the primary form of payment in today's world is still very much paper check. That's just the sad honest truth. And the truth is that we're in the 21st century. So as things are changing in our personal lives, they're also changing in our professional lives, right? Personal lives include your cell phone. You've got virtual reality games now, gaming systems for your children inside your home. You've got movies are now able to be watched directly from the likes of Netflix, Hulu. What's changing in my personal life through the benefit of technology? So in regards to AP, the honest truth is that you could basically say, wow, we could become far more efficient than what we are currently. And that's through the reduction of the additional costs that come with paper checks, the costs that come with potentially even blocking a paper check. So paper checks are old, they're archaic, they're outdated, and they should be enhanced to the likes of auto pay, the likes of ACH. But we've also now incorporated a new payment method in today's world, and that's in the form of a virtual card. So you may be familiar with virtual cards, and if you're not, that's okay. That's pretty much why I'm here today, and we'll elaborate on that here shortly. But also, to a sense, it's not just a monetization aspect that you'll get with CSI. What we're really doing is bringing the labor efficiencies to your platform. So via the API integration we have with Club Essentials, you now can effectively execute payment runs all through a cloud-based platform, right? Everything's almost in the cloud nowadays. So by giving you the ability to do that, this is showing or giving you the chance to say, hey, yeah, we're with the times. We're becoming a bit more innovative with the way we're doing things in AP. And we're doing that specifically through the automation and consolidation of these payment files. We're automating also the approval channels that you've got in place today. So whether it be you've got 1 signer for all payments, or again, 2 signers for anything over $5,000, we've seen it all before. Our platform has the intelligence to set up that logic to ensure you're still executing your payment runs in a timely manner. And from doing that, we're, yes, incorporating a new payment method in the form of virtual cards, but we're also able to take on the existing labor you've got in place with the paper checks and the ACHs. So we can do all payment methods through CSI, all while giving you time back in your day, or while giving you some cost saving structure, and as well, net new revenue that we can find in the form of these virtual cards. So that's the front end of it all. The back end of it is where our IT comes into play, or those people wanting to ensure that this is a process that is going to benefit them and not add any additional time into their day, right? So what you see on your screen right now, if we go from left to right, this is pretty much the workflow. The promise to Club Essentials customers and also all users that use CSI, because we're not only in the golf and country club space, we're also doing things in the media and advertising industry. We also have a hand in the property management and hospitality industry. So we really have our hands in these pots of knowing and learning different workflows. That's why we've built this integration with Club Essentials, to give you the opportunity to bring the efficiency to your B2B payments and your reconciliations at the end of the month. You'll see at the bottom of your screen how that operates. But let's start at the top. At the very top, we've got a Club Essentials API integration. So what that means is the application programming interface receives your file in a matter of seconds. From there, we begin the domino effect of approvals. Once approvals take place, we require funds. Once funds are settled, we then execute payments. Okay, so from left to right, here, we have Club Essentials. You're basically going to run your cash requirements, or you're going to build the payment batch of whom you owe money to this respective month or week. Once that payment batch is created, you now send that over to CSI's cloud-based platform. In the cloud-based platform, you have now, again, the ability to export reports, export any vouchers. If you're attaching the check stub to the invoices today, you don't lose that functionality by any means. You can still take advantage of it in CSI. You again automate the approval workflow, and you again automate the disbursement of these payments. So let's say all the approvals have taken place, and now let's say funds have hit the account from your respective bank. Now we just have to execute all the payments. So we can again facilitate ACH's virtual cards and checks for the club. It's entirely up to you. Should you want to take advantage of all payment methods, or do you want to keep a certain amount in-house? If it makes sense for you, you can just take advantage of CSI for the virtual card aspect. But we will be able to give you a consolidated offering in disbursement of ACH's checks and virtual cards here. So once your payments go, receive the approval, receive the funds, we now send an email remittance to your vendors. But before we see what the vendor sees, additionally for your reconciliations, what's going to happen is a reconciliation file can be created. And if you follow the dotted line, it can be imported back into Club Essentials. So you're going to know what's been paid, when it was paid at all times. Okay. So if we go forward here, we're going to assume that payments have been approved. Payments are now dispersed. And we need to generate these email remittances to your vendors. So when we send these payment remittances out the door, it's going to depict a number of things for you. The first one you see off to the far left here is actually the virtual card that we continue to talk about. Again, we're almost there. We'll get into the specifics of these virtual cards very shortly, but the virtual card is going to depict all of the pertinent card data. So you have the 16 digits. It's almost identical to the one that's in your wallet. Obviously not the respective coding, but you'll have the 16 digits generated for the specific amount of money you plan to pay that vendor this window. You have a CVC code, you have an expiration date of 90 days, although we like to see payments processed faster than that. So once these payments or once these email remittances are received by the vendor, they typically are going to process the payment the moment they receive it. That's the whole reason why they brought on a merchant processor. Right? They want to receive faster payment. They want to increase their cash flow, and you're giving them all of the efficiencies from a viewpoint of, I'm telling you everything I'm paying you here, from who it is or what club it is that's paying them for the respective invoices below, as you can see at the bottom of the email remittance. From there, we also have ACHs and check email remittances that go out the door. That looks more like the smaller remittance you see here. So it's not exactly the actual payment method, because we still go through the mercy of the US Postal Service. We just take on the manual cut, sign, print portion of it all for you via check. ACHs, again, they will look a lot like the second email remittance you see here on your screen. This is basically indicating for your vendor that, hey, we have a payment en route. So once payment is received, they know what invoice they are applying the outstanding balance to. So the virtual cards, I imagine, again, some of you have history with virtual cards, and if you don't, that's quite all right. It is a new term, technically still, or a new payment method. It will be brand new to those who are not taking advantage of AP automation today. But simply put, these single-use virtual cards are created with, like I said, a unique set of 16-digit numbers every time and any time. You will never see a repeat set of numbers for any client in any industry, for that matter, that pushes payments through CSI. Once the card has been processed for the exact amount of money that it's been authorized from your team, you basically now that card is good for nothing. The card is either going to be shredded, the email will be deleted by your vendor. The card is good for nothing once the allocated amount of funds have been removed from the card. So it's very much like a gift card. You allocate a certain amount of money. If you owe, let's say, TaylorMade $1,000 this month, that card will be created for, let's say, 3 invoices that add up to that $1,000. TaylorMade is going to receive that email remittance once all the funding and approval has taken place. They then process that outstanding balance for those respective invoices, and you're good. Payments are done. Payment has been remitted to the vendor, and now we receive all of that reconciliation data back to know if it is truly outstanding or not anymore. From there, this is the monetization aspect to it all. Majority of transactions are going to process at a standard 1%. So you're now becoming more strategic. You're turning your AP department into what's notoriously a cost center into somewhat of a revenue generator now, because not only are you going to save on the $1.50, $2, let's call it, from the paper slip, all the hard costs that come with that. Let's not even include the labor. You've got about $1 to $2 that are basically being saved for every check. And then furthermore, you're contributing 1% back on each transaction. So there is a monthly rebate that's calculated at the end of every month on those virtual card payments you get out the door. There are no out-of-pockets for a virtual card. There are some companies out there that enforce a fee for each virtual card you create, but that's why CSI is the leaders in this space. And that's why we have the integrations with the likes of someone like Clubessential. We have built this program for you at no cost, essentially. So you turn on the API integration we have with Clubessentials, and you can effectively benefit from generating virtual cards to your vendors now. Some of those vendors, I'm sure you're curious to know who does not accept today. You can see there towards the middle, Clubessentials is one of those vendors. We can pay via credit card today your outstanding invoices. So there should be a good amount of vendors you see on your screen right now. I'm going to give a couple seconds for you to view this screen. I'm going to take a quick water break. So these aren't just the amount of vendors you obviously have. There are plenty more, but I think you're starting to hopefully see that it's not just golf. It's not just food and beverage. It's not just utility. We do every single department, every single industry out there. We potentially have a way to pay them outside of your existing check processes today. So what we can do, if this is really starting to interest you, we'll go into some specifics towards the end of this call after we take some questions. But if you are interested in knowing all of your vendors, every single vendor that you paid within the past 12 months, if you want to say, hey, let's see what the year would have looked like should we had CSI in place the last 12 months, we can quantify that value for you. We can say just how many vendors you could have paid, just how many checks you could have saved. And then there's, again, a monetization aspect to it. How much money could I have potentially earned incorporating a program like this? So again, if you want the specifics to all of it, we'll give you some instructions towards the end of this call on how we can go about that. But additionally, just to reiterate everyone, it's not just virtual cards you can take advantage of for CSI. You probably have some existing setup auto pays today with vendors, maybe your leases, maybe some sales taxes. But basically, whether it be a vendor that doesn't accept a virtual card, that's okay. We're not going to mandate that they accept this by any means. A lot of clubs, they have mom and pop vendors out there. So one of the misconceptions is that I'm not going to be able to convert a lot of my spend. The fact of the matter is that that's not true. You can convert almost 99% of your payables to CSI because we can facilitate all payment methods. But the nature of the beast is that you're going to have some that still want a physical copy right then and there the moment they enter the club or complete the service that they're providing. Again, it is all okay. We're going to find value in those vendors that give us an alternative as opposed to accepting a virtual card. If you're not incorporating much ACH to your vendors today in regards to your payments to them, take advantage of someone like CSI and start to do that, because this is going to be a cheaper alternative to the existing checks that you're still executing today. All right. So if a vendor does not accept virtual card, again, just to be clear, there is an alternative. We can pay them via, yes, a check as well, but ACH is going to be more cost effective for you. So we're still getting payment to vendors in a digitized format, all while still enhancing the actual delivery aspect to it all, right? So you see on your screen here, check. We leverage a third-party check provider to print these checks on your behalf. They very much are going to look like they're coming from the club. We can attach even the logo on the check, but we'll also include obviously the respective signatures. So whether it be one signature, two signatures you need on every check payment, that is no problem. We can set that up accordingly with our provider. What we are doing, just to recap, is taking on the manual cut, sign, print portion of it all for you. So if it makes sense to leverage CSI for this payment method, great, let's take advantage of it. Because again, you can average anywhere from 90 to 90% full conversion to your payables. Furthermore, the only other note I'll add on checks here is that you're going to have actual copies of the voided check in CSI Pay Systems in that cloud-based platform, again, to aid your reconciliations at any time. Should it be a check, should it be an ACH, should it be a virtual card, you again will have complete clarity on the whereabouts of all of your payments. So we're getting to our last couple slides here, and this is just in a nutshell, right? This is CSI, the entire advantage. We focus on B2B payments. So as opposed to someone like a bank who can say, hey, we'll offer you a credit card program, certainly. We'll give you X amount of cards for your respective department heads, and we can process payments, or you'll be in charge of processing the payment accordingly. The reason it makes more sense to use someone like a CSI is because CSI is focused strictly on that delivery. So every company has a focus, right? Ours is basically processing the payments for your vendors in a timely manner. So not only that you can take advantage of the rebate, but you're also becoming more efficient. Additionally, CSI makes their revenue off of virtual card conversion. So we're going to be more driven than any bank out there, even any club out there, to convert as many of these virtual cards as possible for you and for CSI. Because again, that's how we've remained profitable within the past 30 years in business. So the last thing I'll really leave you here with on this slide is that the virtual card conversion results are critical to you, yes, because we're maximizing the value. But at the same time, 6 years ago when I was in the club space, I'm sitting here thinking that there is a total room for improvement. I had initial conversations and I was like, wow, that was a real nice have to potentially incorporate at our club. But the fact of the matter is that's now turning from a nice have into a must have, because who knows what happens in X amount of time where maybe we transition to a whole nother remote environment again. Hopefully we don't, but you have to be prepared and you have to have these types of security measures in play to prohibit any type of interruption in service, to prohibit any type of interruption in your AP workflow today. So most importantly, out of all of this, guys, you are on a software that has done all of the dirty work. Clubessentials, they've established the partnership with CSI to offer you a better user experience. And from there, we are your payment provider as well. Okay. So next steps, I imagine maybe some questions have come in over time, Kim. So if you could help me with those, I imagine I'll stop sharing my screen here shortly, but I'll just end on this. We can have a further call. We can explore what your workflow is like so we can properly and adequately tailor this to your liking. It's going to be a matter of the way you direct CSI to set up the approval workflow. However it may be, we will set it up accordingly. But from there, we can also analyze your spenders. So one, you're going to make sure it works for you. Two, you're going to make sure there's the opportunity makes sense with your vendors. We average about 30 to 40% conversion, typically right off the bat, from the likes of our data, the likes of Visa and MasterCard, who we're a dual issuer with. We're going to average, again, 30 to 40% virtual card conversion. From there, it's a matter of our enrollment rates. We're going to find out how many more can accept. And then those that don't accept, have we instead transitioned them now to an ACH payment method instead? So there is some due diligence to a sense from your end, but let's just pause here and see what questions have come in.
Thanks, Ryan. It was extremely informative. We did have one question that came in today so far. It's, can information from the CSI platform be exported into QuickBooks?
Can it be exported into QuickBooks? So I would have some further questions for that user, and my contact information is going to populate here shortly right after this. So feel free to connect with me. I'm happy to have a further conversation. We don't have an integration with QuickBooks per se today. It's totally going to be a matter of the version that you're on. And if so, we can still make something happen, because instead of an integration, if we don't have an integration with the likes of your platform, your ERP, in this case, Clubessentials, we have a manual alternative to where you can export a file and we can upload that into CSI Pay Systems and still take advantage of the digitized format. with approval workflows and payment disbursement. So I do have some specific questions for that QuickBooks user, but as far as CSI and the cloud-based platform, anything you push through the platform, whether it be your approval, whether it be a payment, whether it be a single action you take on blocking a card or putting a stop payment on a check, you will have transparency. You'll have a full audit trail in CSI that you can export any report you're specifically looking for, basically.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We don't have any other questions that have come in so far, but okay, here's one that just came in.
Sure.
Is there the ability to store the invoices digitally?
Yeah, so CSI does not take on the invoice automation side of things. We certainly have some connections out there to get you to a good spot. And one other point I'll add to this is that this is what a lot of clubs will start with. It may not make sense because it's the back end of the spectrum, right? The entire source to base spectrum, the last piece of it is payment, right? So we are the end of it all, but at the same time, it makes sense to implement us because we've already got the integration with Club Essentials, right? Club Essentials seek the proprietary payment provider in the likes of CSI. You're just not taking advantage of it today. So once we go through the training, once we set up and get the respective approvals via our application, we can get you into a good spot where you're now effectively running payment runs and generating that working capital to maybe pay for someone like an invoice automation software. We've got a couple clubs actually within the past 6 months that also use Club Essentials that actually followed that exact process. And now within 6 months time, they've generated enough capital to pay for the likes of an invoice automation project or the likes of a payroll automation project, whatever the case may be. So just 2 cents, my 2 cents on not exactly ruling CSI out just yet, if that is your main objective.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
we'll give it a few more seconds here to see if there's any other questions, if anybody wants to ask anything else.
And while those come in, Kim, I think I can see them as well if they populate. I'll just leave them with one more slide here. Right?
Okay,
And
awesome.
this is what your next steps would be should you be interested in having a further conversation with me or anyone at Club Essentials. I'm sure you can reach out to their representative and they'll get you in contact with CSI. If this makes sense to explore, right? Let's not even talk about implementing it. If it makes sense to explore, this is your blueprint. All good plans start with a blueprint, so this is what it would entail. A total of 3 hours of your time with me will get you to a good spot to potentially make that decision in bringing on this automation aspect to your AP. So we can have a discovery call. We're kind of doing it right now where you're learning a little bit about CSI, but I also need to learn about you. I need to learn what your workflow is. I need to know what kind of payments you're using today, because then we can really tailor these next couple calls. From there, we'll go into an actual user interface demo. We'll see what the cloud-based platform looks like. We'll look at what a payment file looks like coming from Club Essentials, settling into CSI, and then how does the domino effect from there work. From there, we're hopefully doing a vendor analysis already. Club Essentials is one of the greatest out there simply because they have taken on the responsibility of exporting what we would need. With your authorization, Club Essentials can say, hey, Ryan, here's their 12-month spend. Please begin the analysis. Within about 2 weeks' time, we should have those results, and then we'll set up a call to review that quantified value of potentially implementing something like this. And then, like I said, as all partnerships, new partnerships require, we're going to have to execute an agreement. It's a digital application, so in a matter of 15, 20 minutes, you should have your approvals. And then from there, you and I will connect, we'll plan your implementation, which should take no more than 3 to 5 hours. So if you are indeed interested in setting up some time with me, and if there are no further questions, I'll leave my contact information with you. And I've got one more slide here just to make sure you all don't head out, but I'll give you a couple seconds to maybe take down my information. Kim, I think we are recording this, so we'll be happy to send you the recording afterwards, and I'll send you an email, Kim, with all of my information should anyone not be able to take it at this time.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Any other questions that came in, Kim, from what you saw?
We do not have any other questions. We'll throw it out there one last opportunity to ask any questions you might have. But we do want to remind everybody that our digital summit is continuing on. So you can use the link that you used this morning to join the digital summit to hop back on the main session. So that does conclude our partner breakout. We appreciate your information, Brian. It was very beneficial. So we appreciate you giving up time to join us today.
Certainly.
So thanks, everybody. And we hope you continue on. Have a great afternoon. Bye.